Another conceptually fascinating state management library is James Nelson's Govern. Govern is based on Govern is based on the idea that if you're using React, you probably already know how to use components. That's why Govern is based on the idea of using components to do your state management, but not just React components. You're actually using something called a govern component, an API that behaves just like a React component, except it's actually returning state. Think of it as a component that has set state and render and everything that a normal component has, but it returns an object, and you're using that returned object in your React component to do whatever you normally do with your state. What I like about Govern is that it's designed around an API that's already familiar, so it's easy to learn and easy to understand. It also has really great encapsulation where everything you're doing is contained in a single object that you're passing around. And I think the main reason you would want to use Govern is for forms. So it doesn't really fit our example very well, but so same application as always, player with play, next, and back buttons, renders with our same container, video, and controls components. And much like the trend we've seen in a lot of modern state management libraries, we start with a subscribe component that comes from the React Govern package, and we subscribe to our player model, which specified as if it was a React component. And then we have a render prop that gets the model. Our model looks just like a React component. It has a default state, and it has a render method that, instead of returning JSX, returns a state object. Now, this is a full component. It has lifecycle methods, it can have normal methods, it can have getters, setters, all of those things that you're used to from React. But to keep things simple for our example, I return video URL with the calculation of the current video URL, playing Boolean, and I wrap all of the actions that we're using directly as functions in the return state. It's trying to stay as similar as possible to the React API. So to update state, we use this.setState. That triggers a re-render, and that re-render through our subscribe component gets communicated to our React app, and it re-renders.